If you've seen literally any of my videos, then you would know that I love to talk about things that inspire me, and there is a common factor between all of those things being Japan. Even my channel's name, Cameronhanashi, has a Japanese word in it. So Japan, Japanese language, Japanese art, and Japanese culture and media is a big part of this channel. Going forward with videos I'll be making in the future, of course I'm going to continue this. However, I'll be taking the next step relating to it all. That's right, I am moving to Japan. I mean, come on, you'd have seen this coming eventually, right? It was bound to happen. But in all seriousness, yes, as of this video, I'll be moving to Japan in just under 2 months. It's going to be a very big undertaking, and it will also be the most difficult thing I've ever done. However, it is simultaneously also the most exciting thing I've ever done, and I want to bring you all along on the journey with me. So let's get into a few different questions about it. Why Japan, and why now? Well, I think the why Japan part is pretty self-explanatory. Just look at any of my videos. Japan has played a very important part in my life. I've been studying the language for the majority of it, been traveling there many times, and it's just my favorite place in the world. I've been visiting Japan since right when I turned 13. It was the first time I was properly exposed to a different culture, and it really blew me away. How clean everything was, how polite people were. It was my first time taking public transport and seeing how efficient it all could be. And the sheer density of it all. I'd never experienced anything like it, and it really impacted me. That initial trip in 2014 quite literally changed my life. It's what got me excited to actually learn Japanese and pursue it in high school, which in turn led to me discovering things like anime and more of Japanese culture, which led to me studying animation, and led to now where I make videos about all of this. However, I didn't always want to live in Japan. After all, I knew about the darker sides of Japan of its work culture, indifference to foreigners, and big barriers with properly assimilating. So during my time in university, I was actually pretty dedicated to living and building my career in Australia through the animation industry. However, that didn't really work out like I had hoped. Finding an industry job was tougher than I expected. Animation jobs in the city I live in are very competitive, even more so if you're a 2D artist like myself. And I can't really afford to move between all of the expensive major capital cities of Australia for each gig. Coupled with the major housing and cost of living crisis here, I quickly found my motivation that I had prior waning. I just found that it wasn't really the industry that I wanted to work in or work towards. So throughout 2023, I just worked and saved up. I decided to also do a Japan trip at the end of the year, a month in Japan alone, my first time going in about 5 years. I was worried though that in the time between 2018, my last trip, to 2023, that I may have grown apart from Japan or lost interest. I actually found that the opposite had occurred. On this trip, my love for the country only grew exponentially. I got to see all different parts of Japan I'd never seen before, the wintry north of Hokkaido, the big bustling cities like Tokyo and Osaka, and the quiet countryside, and I was able to do it all by myself, experience the good and the bad. And in my last week of Tokyo staying in the suburbs, I started to seriously think for the first time what it would be like for me to live in Japan, what it would take. Yes, Japan does still have its bad sides, but now I have also experienced firsthand the bad sides of Australia, the country I've grown up in. Now as an adult, I know that no place is perfect, and that they all have their own problems and benefits. But I also now know what kind of things I value in the place I want to call home. Somewhere more affordable, somewhere with lots of beautiful nature that's also easy to access, a rich public transport system, somewhere that really values the arts, somewhere with a rich history and not somewhere I can't go outside for half the year without a severe risk of skin cancer because of the absurd UV level. Yeah. It was my final day in Japan that I realized this. Right at the very end of my solo trip, I was in Suginami Ward of Tokyo, and I was sitting on a bench in Tokaido Park, watching the sunsets and families play. I was sad that I was leaving the country, but it also gave me hope, something else to strive for. After finishing my degree, I felt so aimless and directionless in life, but sitting there and just seeing people live their life normally really hit me. It broke the image I had of Japan simply being a holiday destination, but somewhere that people live in, struggle in, work in, and build their lives in. And it became something that I wanted to take part in. I took a picture of that sunset from where I was sitting as a reminder to myself that this was what I wanted to work towards. And someday, I'd be able to come back to it, having that goal fulfilled. That picture has been my channel art here on YouTube ever since, and that has been what I've quietly been working towards throughout my time making videos here. So after almost 2 years of saving, working, getting more life experience, and thinking about the best way to do it, I now know that I genuinely want to at least try living in Japan, and that's what I'm going to do. So how am I doing it? I mean, it's not like there's a visa that just lets you move to Japan and do whatever you want, right? Well, there kind of is actually. For some countries, there is an agreement with Japan called the Working Holiday Visa, where people from the ages of 18 to 30 can get a visa, typically for up to a year, where they can live in Japan with the main purpose being to holiday, but they can also work to support themselves while doing so. This is the visa I'll be going with. After doing a lot of research about all the different visa options, I found that this is the best one for me at this time. It gives me the most freedom in regard to the work I can do, and also allows me to experience living in Japan for a shorter time to see if I actually like it. Most people, especially from Australia, tend to work in ski resorts, which is fine, but people who do this mainly just spend their time partying and surrounded by other foreigners and tourists, so I don't get to learn much Japanese or experience a lot of what actually living there is like. This is not what I plan to do. The main purpose of this for me is to properly experience living a normal life in Japan, the good and the bad, and I really want to improve my Japanese skills through immersion. But in regard to work, my goal is to do freelance art and illustration whilst networking with the Japanese arts industry and making friends in Japan. Who knows what will happen from there, but I'm excited to at least delve into it. I'll also obviously continue to make videos about it all. Speaking of which, what kind of videos will I make? Now, that's probably the most important thing, right? By far the most common type of video you'll see by foreigners living in Japan are tourism-related videos. Top 10 things to do in Tokyo, secret hidden gems in Japan that you didn't know about, over-tourism is ruining Japan, stuff like that. This is not what I'll be doing. I think this kind of genre is way too oversaturated, and there's nothing that I feel like I can really add to it that would be worth much value. I would just be another white guy talking about all the same spots as everybody else. Instead, I just want to make the same videos I currently do, but in Japan. So storytime animations, deep dives into specific games or anime, stuff like that. But I'd love to up the quality on them, like maybe going to specific places that inspired these stories within Japan, or even interviewing people and creators on certain topics. As well as make videos about my life in Japan, how I go finding work, things I've learned, or info about the creative industry there. I'd also like to experiment a bit with vlogs, just going over my casual daily life, maybe updating you guys on what I'm working on, or watching or playing, stuff like that. Just a very personal, diary-like kind of channel. However, I've never been big on having my face on camera too much, so we'll see how that goes. But above all else, I want to be drawing more and creating more while I'm in Japan, so I'll be sure to document it all. There's still some time until I actually move in November, but I'll be busy working on a backlog of videos to release whilst I'm moving and getting settled in. And I have a few videos in mind relating to the move leading up to it, so please do look forward to that. But this is a really exciting next chapter of my life, and I'm really looking forward to bringing everybody along with me.